What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103, and welcome to another episode of the Blaugrana Parisiens. I think we're on episode 21, and this for me is a big episode because when PSG, of course, joined by PSG Int, when
Yes.
we started this show, we were kind of both. I think you were, I think both teams were like kind of mid. Of course, we come off the back of trophy season. You came off the back of winning the domestic treble, but losing semifinal against Dortmund, so a bit of bittersweet. We're now at 20 episodes into the season, and we're now the two best teams in the world. How crazy is that? Who would have thought when we first started this show that a few months later it would be the two best teams in the world? What do you say to that?
Um, Hopefully none of us bottled it, and we actually get the two best teams in the world in the Champions League final.
Yeah. I think it'll be mainly coming out to you because you gotta face the satanic black magic of Real Madrid. So I think it's more of a you problem than us. But it's crazy to me that I said as we said in the last show. I said if you beat Liverpool, you're definitely top two, and you've done it. So of course I'm going to stick to my word. Dembele scoring as well, even though it was a bit fugazi. We'll take it. I was hoping you would get knocked out to Liverpool because remember when he missed that 1v1 like after he scored.
Oh yeah.
I was ready. I had the
That
gun
was your
loaded.
dream you
That
had
was
before.
I was my gun was loaded. Like if they get knocked out on penalties, the first thing I'm gonna say is, "See that? Remember that 1v1? That's a typical dumb boost miss." But let's get into the discussion. Of course, we're now into the in now show break. I remember on the last show, if of course you haven't seen the last show, it's on the Inch channel. I remember us saying at the end that in the next show, one of us probably won't be happy. But the odds of us both being happy were very very slim, and we're both here very very happy. Let's start off with you. Of course, you got the probably the biggest and shocking win in the round 16 of the Champions League, being Liverpool. Of course, not a shock that you beat them, but the fact that you weren't the favorites. Penalty shootout. I think that's it. I feel like I predicted a penalty shootout for either the Madrid game or PSG. I don't know which one I said it for, but how did that go? Talk me through it. Of course, I think everyone's probably seen your reaction by now, myself included. But how was it?
I mean, that was the first penalty shootout I've been through as a PSG fan in the Champions League, and I don't want to go through it ever again, man. Never, never. Um, I was more confident for the penalty shootout slightly because I know like Donnarumma is a way better shot stopper at Pence than Allison. And it's also the extra time. We were really comfortable, took this thing out of the game. What was this Anfield aura, man? The Anfield stuff. It felt like we are playing a neutral ground. Um, well, no, a huge victory, a huge mental victory. For me, that's the Liverpool game at Anfield because they had a lot of chances. We just survived, keeping clean sheet for 120 minutes. Donnarumma having his best PSG performance. I mean, he looked like the Italy Donnarumma this
I don't
time.
know, man. I
That's
feel
what
like
he
in
did.
the game when I was watching it, he had a few like uncomfortable situations where he a lot of times when the crosses were coming in, he was punching them, wasn't catching them, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I sensed a bit of nervousness. I think he came in clutch, of course, for the penalty shootout, but I felt during the game he had a bit of nervy moments. So if anything fell the wrong way, I think everyone would be cooking him.
100%. It's just that Liverpool, if we're thinking like there was like two chances they had that was like goal scoring, Nuno's block and Pacho's block. But apart from that, just disgusting Premier League Satanism. They put in like 40 crosses into the box
That's
and
just
then
Liverpool.
corners as
Why do you
well.
think they always so not labeled as so good? All they do is Trent and Robertson whipping crossing the box. Salah's just efficient on headers and loot. That's all they do, man.
Salah trying that cross
Yeah.
all the time to the back post against Brighton. It works. Donna just eats them up like easily. But no, it was a especially that second half. Like we were not that good that second half. We didn't have a single chance. Liverpool just put the pressure, hit the post, and yeah, I mean, it's my second favorite PSG game ever already.
Did you ever feel
Just
like during the game that you weren't gonna make it out of it? Maybe in extra time, maybe when they were hitting the post a few times in like the hour in the second half. Were there ever a moment where you thought like, oh my god, we're like on thin ice, or were you always like, you know what, let's ride the storm. We'll get through it.
second half was by far when I was least confident because I was like, we're not keeping the ball, we're not creating chances. Liverpool would just get one Fugazi goal, and then it's all over. But we managed to survive, man. We managed to survive. That's the, like a lot of people are propping us. I even made like a player ratings after the game, and people are like, "Oh, you're like underrating your PSG players." I was like, "Okay, we were good in the sense that we went to Anfield and we didn't look absolutely garbage, but Liverpool could have gone away with the victory, and we would have been knocked out. So there's still the room left for improvement for this
Hmm.
PSG team."
Yeah, I wouldn't. PSG definitely competed, and were definitely the better team over the two legs. But it wasn't like Liverpool were poor, especially in that second game at Anfield. Of course, in the first game
Yeah.
in Paris, they were the best. Were you confident in the penalty shootout going into it, or are you thinking like it's a gamble, 50-50, you don't know what's gonna happen?
I was confident since I thought we had the better weapons. Like Luis Enrique had kept Dembele and Vitinha on the pitch. He brought on Gonzalo. We had Kangili, Hakimi, Due. So I was confident from our shooters and Donna as well over Allison. But at the end of the day, sometimes that doesn't matter in a penalty shootout. But I was more confident, I would say, than Liverpool fans. Yeah, but a penalty shootout is a penalty shootout.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yeah,
finished off quickly. They only took three three penalties, I think.
three.
Yeah,
Yeah, Salah, Nunez, and what's that guy's name?
Jones.
Jones. Yeah, because you went first. Yeah, man. I mean, I think it was a definitely underdog story. It's quite crazy to see. I think from my perspective, again, like I said, either way it was a win-win for me. So I come out of it with a W. But watching the game itself, I think it was quite even. Like I mentioned, I think in the first half, after we got the goal, I'm thinking, oh, here we go, game on. What did we say in our show last week? If PSG get that first goal,
Yep.
we think we can do it right, and they did that in the end. But I saw Dembele missing a few chances. PSG were getting behind and weren't really converting it into a chance. Don't look kind of shaky. It's like, oh, I can see Liverpool maybe getting a goal. I really thought 1-1 was looking like prime condition, especially like around the hour mark. But once it hit extra time for both games, to be honest, the PSG game and the Madrid game, I knew they were gonna go to penalties. I think extra time is a bit of a false image. Yes, a team
Yep.
could. I preferred extra time because yes, you can maybe nick a goal and end it all and whatever. But you can just tell in both games that both of them were gonna go to penalties because it kind of looked that way, and especially like once you hit the 110th minute, both can probably just end up playing for penalties.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to you, man. Great game. Aston Villa next round. I guess we'll talk about that maybe in the next show since it's a bit too early.
Another thing,
Mm.
Salah once again in the
Oh,
left nutsack pocket of Nuno, man.
bro, I saw a stat yesterday that Salah has only two GAs in finals for Liverpool, and they're both penalties. And the
Yeah,
rest, he just again big moments. Where he scores hat tricks in Southampton with two penalties and stuff like that. But
Norwich,
yeah,
Brentford, Huddersfield.
but
Such
in
a sad pack,
but in the
honestly.
big games, he's nowhere to be found. Someone here says Barcelona. Do you know that Billy is good on penalties? I do, yeah, because we saw it a few times for Barcelona. Because he likes to stay in the middle. Then he kind of changes the way he goes with his left foot, which I think is an absolutely crazy ability to have. You mentioned that was your first penalty shootout for PSG in the Champions League. I've never seen Barcelona play a penalty shootout in the Champions League. I think I've
Yeah, I
always
thought of that. Never.
no, not in my lifetime. I've seen Barcelona only play two competitive penalty shootouts, and they're both in the Super Cup against Sociedad, where we won. Ter Stegen was a hero in COVID, then we lost the final to Athletic Club, and then 2 years ago against Betis, where Ter Stegen was the hero again. We of course won. Remember, we won. I said the best performance post Luis Enrique Barcelona that Spanish Super Cup final that came from a penalty shootout. Those are the only two I've ever seen in my life as a Barca fan. Of course, I've seen some in preseason, but those don't really count. But yeah, Dembele was always known to do that because in both penalty shootouts that he played for Barcelona, he would stand in the middle. Then once he went with his right foot, once he went with his left foot,
Yeah.
also he took some penalties as well in the cups because when he would start, he'd be the main forward. So I'm not too surprised by Dembele's penalty shootout or penalty technique. After, of course, you had Marseille, Le Classique. I saw the Zerbi coming out saying that we had no chance. It's just the levels are too big. You talk about in terms of money, of course, but 3-1, so it looks comfortable. I watched the highlights. It looked like the first half was really easy for PSG, and the second half was kind of dead. But let me know your thoughts on Le Classique.
Um, I thought we're going after the conference versus Liverpool, but it was quite seen that we put in a lot of intensity into that Liverpool game. So the only thing that matters for us in the Marseille game, it's obviously Le Classique, slightly more intensity, but we're there for the victory. As you said, the game was open in the first half. We should have probably potentially got it one more. Marseille was still good. Like I hate Marseille, but I gotta give it to them. This was one of like it was somewhat tight. Like even the goal that they scored, the goal that we scored in the second half came from a Nuno mistake and then an own goal. But no, the Deserbi is just Arsenal. That's what he is. Just excuses. Just excuses. Like you lost, you were the worst team. He wants to bring budget and money into this. They have obviously we haven't lost a single time this season, but there have been other teams that have given us a tougher game with a lower budget than Marseille. So I don't even understand his gimmick argument.
Mm-hmm.
But no, now Ligue 1, 19 points clear as well. We just need to go unbeaten now. 8 games to go. Can we do the unthinkable? If we win the Champions League, they go unbeaten. It's a treble with an unbeaten, the most legendary treble. And then hopefully, inshallah, Club World Cup in the summer. And it's at least a top 5 greatest club season of all time.
Oh,
But there's
with
still a
the
lot
Club
of
World
games to
Cup, unbeaten Champions League. That's basically what the quadruple plus a couple, yeah, for sure, without a doubt.
huge if though. Huge if.
Yeah,
Still a lot of games to go, man.
yeah,
Madrid Satanism on the way.
yeah, and both the Club World Cup and the Champions League. So get ready for that.
Oh my.
Then Boost another goal again. I saw. I didn't watch the game because I think it was at the same time as the Barca game. I saw that he scored. I'm like, oh brother, this guy is actually like turning. This guy is actually turning into a crazy level. So did he miss any big chances in the game though? I didn't see him miss like any crazy opportunities. That's what all I have left in the hate.
He missed one like a cutback came from Due. He smacked it immediately, went over the goal. Then he had one. It was like the Yamal goal. So he was outside of the box on the left side actually. So cutting with his right. I don't know where the ball was gonna go if it went, and then he got a crazy deflection, but he hit the post.
Mm-hmm.
But like that wasn't a big chance or something. But yeah, we were really dead in the second half. He got subbed out. It was just very clinical. He got that chance early on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I see Dembouz as the false nine, I think of that's how Mbappe should have been at this latter end of the stage in his career. That's why he should have been this insane. Because Dembele's best game is the runs. Like even the goal versus Liverpool, receives in the center, gives to Barcola, makes the striker-esque run. Yeah, I don't know, man. Words are I cannot comprehend them.
Well,
Man.
with them moves, two things are gonna happen. Either his form absolutely dips, or he's gonna get injured. So one of the two are gonna happen, and we will be there when it happens for the for the factor. But yeah, great week for PSG. Also great week for Barcelona. We had 2 big games just like you. Big game in La Liga, Champions League game. Of course, your Champions League game was bigger. Comfortable win against Benfica. Lamine Yamal with an absolute golazo on your head top as well, which was nice to see. First half was, of course, all the goals. Second half was quite dead. I felt like both teams kind of just like, what, Barca won. Barca has a few chances. We had a good chance where Frankie de Jong absolutely carried a huge attack that couldn't convert. But after that, it felt kind of dead. I know you watched the game, so you have any thoughts on the match?
Like if I want to bring up any negativity from that game, it's just how like you got the first important goal, then immediately 1 minute after you can see the corner. Like what the fuck is that?
It's just because I hate how Barcelona does zonal marking on corner. I feel like that's so rookie. They do against the better teams like your Atleticos, your Real, Bayern, better teams in La Liga. We tend to like man mark and have good positional sense. But in these like random games, sometimes we just always just have zonal marks, so you have just one zone to mark. So that's why Arujo got cut out there. But hopefully that's an error that we do rectify.
No, but apart from that, you control the game, especially Benfica in the beginning. They pressed really well, like first 10, 20 minutes with that Kunda Araujo spot. Like you lost a lot of balls on that right hand side, but then you got the counter attacks. And the thing we have to talk about Rafinha is his clinicality. You give maybe not in La Liga, maybe not in La Liga, but Rafinha in the UCL, you give him a tiny chance, he's there. For the Yamal cross, Rafinha is there, and Yamal.
On your head top, man. See the assist as well?
Go ahead.
Oh.
Look, I didn't mention this. The chat mentioned it. You think it was a shot?
Oh, I think it was a shot. But you know what? It got an assist, so we move. We move, man. We move.
No, it was a crazy dribble on Florentino Luis before.
You know.
And then the goal, it's
I'm gonna
I
put
don't like that. Takes crazy confidence to even try that shit.
Loki. I think the goal was a cross. But I saw a crazy stat that hey man, I told you man, I keep it 100 man. Of course the goal looks sexy, looks great, but that was definitely a cross in my eyes. But we'll take it. Um, I saw a crazy stat before going live that Lamine Yamal now is like 5 GA away from Vinny's Ballon d'Or campaign last season. You know how nuts that is, man. I think last season he had like 10 goals and assists together. He didn't start the season as a starter, but once, Abdi and Ansu Fati left, he became a starter, performed well, but was just ineffective. The jump, the rise is crazy. I think it's 12 goals and like 21, 22 assists, something like that. I mean, he is just unbelievable. He scored his best goal and his most important goal for Barcelona in a week. And speaking on that most important
Yep.
goal, we're talking now about the Atletico Madrid game. I know, of course, you couldn't watch it because the PG game was on. But what a game, man! I thought it was gonna be a draw, as I tend to predict in the Atletico Madrid games because they're just the satanism of Diego Simeone's park the bus is quite crazy to break down. We were 2-0 down, Sorloth goal again, which I said was gonna happen because it's just too predictable with Barcelona. And then 4 goals in 20 minutes. I mean, I, I think no team in the world does that. I think it's the first time uh Atletico under Diego Simeone, so what, like past 15, 17 years, that they have blew a two goal advantage. They've never blown a 2 goal advantage under Simeone. This is the first time they've done it. I mean, shout out to the team for the heroic comeback. The performance again wasn't too bad. A lot of people saying that this was our worst performance against Atletico Madrid in the 3 games that we played. The first 2 games we killed them. This one was a bit more of a cagey game. I think we dominated the first half. I think once they scored that goal, kind of our heads dropped. Second half was a bit even on the chances, and of course they scored. It was definitely the worst of the 3, but still coming back is unbelievable. What do you think on the win? Big win for Barca as well for the league.
No, it's huge. I mean, I was so when the PSG game started to die off, I was checking the Barca score 2-0, minute 70. I was like, how are Barca going to come back from this hole? And you get 2 consecutive goals from Leva and Ferran, then a heavy Fugazi goal
Hey,
from
then we
Mr.
we
Lamine
take those. It
Yamal.
was on target. It goes down to his goal. We take it. We take it. If you think about it,
Uh,
he had of course 2 goals and assists this week. All 3 of them were Fugazi, but we'll take it, man. The stats, the stat pad, the celebrations, the pictures, we take it,
Wait,
man.
he got an assist today?
No, no, like the 3 GA. He got
That,
the assist for
oh, the
Benfica.
three,
So the
my
three
bad.
like goal involvement he had, they're all kind of a bit Fugazi, but we take it, man. We take it.
Yeah, he got that, and then obviously Leva. No, I saw some people I was talking about Yamal. That's what I was downplaying on Twitter.
Mm.
But Barca, another huge just victory more. I said I didn't watch the game, so I don't know how you were performing after minute 70. But once again, I've talked about this a lot of times because I'm contrasting before with Barca from last season, the mentality switch. And with this the Barca team under Xavi have done this? Absolutely no way. But Flick, I even liked one of your tweets. It said something like Flick disgusting. What was it?
Um, I don't know. Probably his substitutions. Um, in the game, I thought were not that great, but in the end, I got proven wrong. Um, but like you said about the team, I think last season for sure we would have crumbled. I don't think Chabi is the was one of the main reasons why we were poor last season. I think this season, I think I mentioned this in a tweet. Half of the reason why we're doing well this season is, of course, a Flick, his new innovation, his tactics, the way that the team have accepted it and have played it well. But the other half is the players themselves. Last season, they performed 3 times below their expectation. The only player that performed well was Gundogan, and he's no longer here, and that's why he was well known as Barcelona's best player last season. This season, not only are they performing at the level we expect, but now they're performing above and beyond. So they were 3 times worse last season. Now they're 3 times better this season. So that's why I think the levels have jumped, and everyone is surprised, and everyone's calling Barcelona the best team in the world, which we have been probably since that week against Madrid and Bayern. But this team, man, I think can go all the way. Of course, we're on for the quadruple. The only 2 teams that can win the quadruple now are PSG and Barcelona as well. And of course, Madrid can still win the
Wait,
treble.
Madrid?
They can win the
Oh, the
treble,
treble. Okay, yeah.
but the quadruple is only for Barca and so I think yeah, Barca, PSG, and Madrid are the only teams that can win the treble altogether now as well. Which means, like I said in the video the other day, the only way Barcelona win the treble is if they have to stop Real Madrid some way, whether it's in the Champions League or in the Copa del Rey. At some point, we're gonna get a final against Madrid, so that's gonna be quite juicy. But yeah, man, I feel like it's quite a good sight to see and a crazy sight to see that we're sitting here as the two best teams in the world, two teams that are being recognized for not only their talent but their style of play, their way of play. I think we can agree that Barcelona is the better team. Um, but
No.
whoa, come on now. You had you had a whole first half season of just slumbering. You need to get the juices
Uh,
going.
Fugazi, Fugazi. Lucho is holding us back. Look, one thing we can agree on is whenever, like, people actually called me a Barca glazer for this. But whenever on our podcast we had like Liverpool, Barca, when you two were considered the two best teams in the world, I always said Barca is at least 1 to 2 levels above this Liverpool side. Like, you were not in the same, and obviously Liverpool and another defeat in that
Oh,
final.
that was so nice
Yeah,
as
look.
well. Oh, that's down to you
No,
though. So
shot.
shout out to you too. That you helped with that. Somebody here asked, "Do you think that the Barca mentality is different from any of the Barca teams in the past, and this can be translated to Champions League?" I mean, it's definitely changed. Like I said this on our show in that week for the Bayern and Real Madrid game. This is the week where we test the mentality. This is the week where we see the real difference. We of course played the two games in under 68 hours, which now Real Madrid are complaining about when they did against Madrid and Villarreal this past weekend. We had the two games very, in quick succession. 8 goals scored, 1 goal conceded, 0 clean sheets. That for me is when I saw the mentality switch. Then we had that poor run in December, which probably came down to injuries and fatigue as well. But again, that form was still very poor. Um, in the Champions League, we're seeing it, but we're not seeing it in the big level. So of course, we made that comeback against Benfica, which was nice. We had the big win against Bayern, but I'm still waiting for a KO big challenge. That for me is like the final test for the mentality of Barcelona. In the league, they're doing it. The cup, they're doing it. They've done the group stage in the Champions League. But of course, the KO of the Champions League is where everything matters the most. It's where all the failures of Barcelona have come over the past 10 years. So this is, I think, the moment where we do end up seeing it or not. Of course, Dortmund, I expect to get by quite okay. And then, of course, you have Bayern entering the semifinals. That will be the big game. And it sucks, man. We both play on this. They put us on the same day as well for the Champions League. So we both play. So we won't be able to watch our teams live. But I guess maybe it's a good thing as well. I think the two other games are better than our games, anyways. We are the big favorites going into
Yeah,
the two.
sure.
Um, let's talk about. I want to talk about the two best players on our team. I think we kind of both have an agenda against our two best players as well. I think it's nice to address
But
it.
he's not your best player, man. He's
Well,
respect
I,
Pedri, man.
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
Pedri and Dembele,
Listen,
yeah.
listen. Pedri is, of course, sensational. But like I said, I think that Lamine Yamal is the most important player in the team. That's why I kind of consider him, one of, if not the best. Because I think if you take him out of the team, the whole team is dead. If you take out Pedri, I think we can still survive. And of course for you, it's Dembouz. Who do you think, if the Ballon d'Or is awarded tomorrow between the teams now? Who do you think would have the big chance of winning it? Would you give
From
it to
PSG.
just from anyone in the world? Like if the Ballon d'Or is tomorrow, no trophies, like take the trophies out, just purely on performance. 'Cause I saw your video about the Ballon d'Or. I think I saw a clip of it, and this is something that I've been preaching over the past few years a lot. The Ballon d'Or should be given to the best player in the world. Now I think with the what's happened over the past few years and the importance of the Champions League is given to the best player on the best teams and the best player in the world.
Yeah.
And I think the award has lost a little bit of value to that because now I'm seeing people, oh, Bayern win the Champions League, Kane will win it when Kane's not the best player in the world. He's having a good season. Yes, he's scoring goals, which is again is what he's doing. I think he's on the same amount of goals as Lewandowski, so it's not like he's doing anything outrageous in my eyes, anyways. But I think he's lost that credibility. But who do you think right now would you say is a Ballon d'Or, a true Ballon d'Or winner?
If you are you talking like ability and so on, or are you talking like how they look at it?
No, no, like ability. So tomorrow the Ballon d'Or is awarded for the best player in the world. Who do you think should win it?
Oh, that was.
So we're gonna ignore the part from August until December. We'll just
No, he started cooking. No, he started cooking from like the end of November.
yeah. So
The
August,
thing is,
September, October, 4 months. 4 months.
no, he was good in August. It was September, October, and half of November. No, the thing is for me is Dembele just hasn't been good in these past 4 months. He's been, when you look at the numbers, I tweeted that yesterday. More goals at this date than prime Messi and Ronaldo. So this is what he's
He.
doing is absolutely insane.
Mhm.
In terms of abilities, like when I look, especially when I look at the stats, Dembele is basically Yamal plus Rafinha. So it gives you the output of a Rafinha, but he also gives you the progressive carries, the dribbles, not as high as Yamal, but he's basically a mixture between the two players.
Mhm.
And that's why I give him the ability, because Rafinha gives you insane amount of GA. But if we're being completely honest, when it comes to ability, like a player like Yamal is better than him probably.
Do you?
He can do more, but Rafinha is way more efficient.
Mhm. I want just real quickly on Lamine Yamal. After the game last night, he posted a picture of him celebrating. He said, "Don't worry, Coulez, I got you." And that for me just screams arrogance, and I absolutely love it. Especially on someone like on your head top as well. It brings such a nice elevation to the world of football, and just seeing just the picture of Lamine Yamal lifting the UCL at the end of the season, and then me just tweeting at you is gonna hit like absolute crack. And I feel like it's the same way for you. If you win the Champions League and you tweet me the boost with the UCL, I will be fuming, and it's gonna hit like crack for you. But I think we
No,
cannot eat.
I don't do that.
I know. I think that either of us cannot take away from what the two players are doing this season. I think they're both over exceeding their expectations. I think Dembele, he's a player that gets you maybe 15 goals, 10, 15 assists a season, so like 30 GA, and he's of course overdoing that. For Lamine this season, I'm probably expecting from him 20 GA. He's at like 32 right now, and again, we're only in March. So I think both players are performing at such a high elite level that it's hard to, dictate and predict who's the more impactful player. I think with Lamine, the only argument you do have on the side is that he's only 17, right? So he has so much more room to grow. Um, the fact that he's doing this now will, of course, higher the expectations in the years to come. So next season, if he gets, 20 GA, the criticism probably from you and other people that don't like him will be crazy because he would have had a level drop off. So he is setting the bar quite high, but he's up to the challenge now. Of course, that goal against Atletico Madrid is a goal in the league, so now the whole goal in the league thing is now dead, and he does it as a last second dagger as well. So it's I think the Ballon d'Or is going to be very very interesting. I think it really comes down to um it's going to come down to, of course, accomplishments, which does suck. Maybe the argument of who's the better player may come into play a little bit. But I think the accomplishments are too heavy in football. Someone here asked which team is actually better right now on the pitch in terms of Barcelona and PSG. What do you think out of that? I'm actually curious on your thoughts.
I said PSG before. I don't think it's that like big of a gap. That's why I would put both PSG and Barca in the same boat. Both play similar but still different football. Paris Saint-Germain, it's more about the control. Barca, it's more about that blitzkrieg, like being 2-0 down, bump, getting 4 goals. Just you have insane, just I don't know, attack, 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 attack. Whereas PSG, it's more get the ball, get the ball. But we can also play like that, as we showed versus Liverpool. We can be very threatening on the counter and play very direct football. Um, so I honestly think at the end of the day, it's mostly subjective who you think is the better team. Like you can bring up these stats to prove PSG is better. You can prove these stats to show that Barca is better. That's it.
I think Barcelona gets the edge a little bit, you could say, maybe based on the season, is the consistency. Where we've done it from from August until now. Whereas you
Yeah,
had the team, the player in Luis Enrique meeting that changed everything. What was it, like middle end of December, end of November, which kind of
yeah,
got everything kicked off. But I still think it's still surprising if you would have said PSG and Barcelona come March in August would be the two best teams in the world. No one would really believe you. Um, but I think that it's a testament to how well the teams have done. Someone here
yeah.
says, who's the best player on ability only, Rafinha, Lamine, or Dembele? This is actually a pretty good question. And I think the answer for this is quite clear.
Oh, yeah, Dembele. Yeah, I could put Yamal ahead of Rafinha for sure, and then Rafinha as the last one, the prem winger, man.
I think it is Dembele. I think from what we've seen so far, I think on pure ability, Dembele is the most high level right now. I think yeah, Lemmy can get to a better level. I think he has the potential to grow there. But I think the pace of Dembo's, the dribbling, the 1v1, the being both footed is so effective. I think to be fair, Lamines dribbling, I can't say it's better than Dembo's, but I think it's definitely, I could definitely argue it. But if I lose that argument, I wouldn't, lose my mind over it. But one to watch for sure. Another topic I wanted to discuss, and that was the topic of left back. I saw you tweet that Nuno was the best left back in the
Yeah.
world, and he had the mistake. Of course, had a great game against Mohamed Salah. I think Balde as well over the. I think Balde in 2025 has been sensational. Of course, you're gonna favor Nuno, but what do you think makes Nuno the better player than Balde?
He just has like more complete game. Like he can do more stuff. The only thing, again, if you want to say Balde better, is that Nuno has had at least five like mistakes leading to a goal this season. Uh, some of it maybe has to do because he plays more as a left center back rather than a left back when we have the ball. So he's put in a weird position he's not usually playing. But I just think he has a more plethora. And when he wants to defend, I don't think I think Balder would do a good job on Salah, but I don't think he can do as well of a job because he's not as physical as Nuno Mendes. But Balder definitely them two. Once again, like this goes for so many PSG Barca players. It's you can say one or two, but it's definitely top two. It's like Vitinha Pedri. Vitinha Pedri, even though he hurts, I give it to my boy Pedri. But they have been the top two. Uh, Kunda, I know he's been like down, but I still can't think of another right back apart from Hakimi better than Kunda. So again, top two, top two, top two. Oh my god.
What's wrong? Are you just thinking about UCL final already?
Yeah, no, because it could be the most legendary. It's legit the best versus the best, both in terms of because Madrid when they go to the final, they don't have the best players. They just have that fugaziness in them. Here, it's actually the two best teams. I'm just scared. Yeah, maybe for. Uh,
Imagine we.
yeah, I don't know
I
who.
think
I'm
if we
scared
meet each
about.
other in the final, I think there's a good chance that whoever wins the final wins the treble, wins the quadruple.
Yeah,
Completes football as well. Where Barcelona have had that game twice and won, and you've had that game once, and you of course ended up getting done by one of your academy players.
wait. Do you want to know a cheeky stat? The
Yeah.
final is being played at the Allianz Arena. The Champions League final has been played four times before at the Allianz, and the team that have won there, Nottingham Forest, Marseille, Chelsea, and another team. And all those teams, it was their first Champions League title.
It's not gonna be yours. So it's if I see Sasa stuff that came true, we would have won the Champions League last season. Everything was in our line. Ivory Coast won the Afcon. Um, all these draws happen to say. I hate that. So, but that's a cool stat. That one's better than the ones that I've seen. But I hate like the stuff for Barcelona. I saw someone say that last time Liverpool got knocked down the round 16, Barcelona won the Champions League or something like that. Like all this stuff that just gives you that kind of momentum. But I think honestly, it really comes down to the semifinals. I think both semifinal ties will be hard to predict. Whoever we face and whoever you face. Of course, if you get Arsenal, then you'll probably be all right. But for us, I think it's a very much a 50-50. Regardless if we play Inter or Bayern, they're both really good teams. I hope it's Bayern because I just think they're a bit more open than Inter. Inter sitting back and playing the five, it's going to be hard to break down. Although Bayern do have that extra incentive because the final is in their stadium. So maybe they want to go. Of course, they failed the first time to win the final in their stadium in the one that you mentioned, the Chelsea one in 2012. So
Yep.
we'll see if that comes to fruition. But are you confident in dominating France for the rest of the season? Would there be, of course, the league title is wrapped up, but of course the Coupe de France, I think it's called the other cup one, going unbeaten as well, would be a nice icing on the cake. Are you confident of winning the final two trophies in France?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Coupe de France this season has been a crazy show. Like all the big teams have been knocked out. We're gonna face Dunkirk. We don't. You don't. I don't know. You don't know what Dunkirk is. I think it's a third division tier side. So shout out to them for making it, but shout out for them to giving us an easy path to the final.
Who can your final opponent be? Who's the other semis?
I think like Stade de Reims, not Rennes, and they're like 13th in the
And
table or
who's the
something.
other team?
Let me quickly check.
See, like how I need to know how easy it's gonna be.
Con.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
They are. No, I've never been through such a forget. Okay, they are in the 4th tier.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's the Coupe de France what I wrapped up there.
Yeah, it's the unbeaten for me. Unbeaten. We've finished off all the tough teams. We had now Marseille, Stade Rennes, Lyon, Monaco, all mixed together. We beat them all. But as we've always brought up with the example of Barca when they were nearly gone unbeaten, you lost in a game where you didn't expect it, and so it could legit happen in any game. We actually we had the Nantes game. You saw the Nantes game that got rescheduled. I mean, they rescheduled it, but they've put it in a place we'll have to play 4 games in 9 days. So
Yeah, I'm a bit scared for Barcelona as well because the last time we played 4 games in 9 days and we lost 2 of them. We lost to Monaco, the 2-1, and then we lost 4-2
Osasuna,
4-2 to Osasuna. Yeah, and I think in the middle we beat Getafe 1-0. We beat someone else. And I'm kind of worried that this Osasuna game is going to absolutely finesse us because they're going to stick this game somewhere we don't want to play it. Of course, right now it's scheduled during the international break where, a lot of our players will not be available. We're going to have to play basically a B team against Osasuna, who are a very, very good team. So I'm a bit scared about that because, again, too many games back to back. You're going to see feral teams. We saw, of course, with Madrid, they almost lost to Villarreal. They all came out complaining afterwards. Atletico, they had, of course, that extra day of rest, and they still afterwards losing to Barcelona, they still came out and complained as well. So the fixture is getting really, really congested. I think, again, players are human at the end of the day. They're not robots. So if they are going to have games all together in the space that they're not separated well enough, results will drop. Of course, Barcelona, the still only team undefeated in 2025. Of course, you had your unfortunate loss to Liverpool, which you didn't
it
deserve.
don't matter. Like Rodri won, like the Rodri unbeaten streak. We went through versus Liverpool. It don't matter, man.
Yeah, but I think that unbeaten streak will come to an end after international break. We're still also undefeated with Szczesny in goal as well, which is a cheeky, nice little feat there. But I think it will come to an end after the international break, especially with the games. I think we have Osasuna, Girona, Atletico in the cup, and then Betis. Those 4 big games in the space of I think 9 days it is, and then one that's during an international break, which just shows how crazy it actually is. What are your thoughts on that? On Barcelona playing a game during the international break? You think that's
No, I remember you brought up that, or I saw that during a tweet or something. I was like, wait, that must be like a Tebas Marca report or something. But no, it's actually I don't understand how you can play a game during international break. I've never seen that. Wait, so is it like do you play on a Thursday?
Yeah,
So like 2
we put
days
on a
ahead of each
Thursday,
other?
then a Sunday. Yeah, both games are at home, so traveling wise won't be too bad. But still, I mean that game against Osasuna is gonna be a fully rotated team. Like we're gonna see like B team players in there for sure.
Yeah, I saw your like predicted lineup. It had Ansu Fati. I was like, okay.
Yeah, like
Okay.
everyone's on duty, and when they come back, we have some other players as well that play for the under 21s for Spain. Pablo Torre, Gerard Martin, Fermin Lopez. So they're gonna have some games as well, even though it's maybe not for the main national team. So we might be cooked in that game, and it sucks that we're gonna be cooked in that game when we've fought so hard against Atletico Madrid to win the game, all to just give up that lead. Again, we're only at top of the table right now on goal difference. We of course have that 3 point advantage if we do win our game in hand, but if we don't, then what's the point, right? It's gonna come down to that final Classico. I looked at the next 10 games for Barcelona, man, and they're all so winnable, barring of course the Classico, which you could say 50. Then the last game of the season, San Mamés away. So if we win the league before then, W, man. But if we have to go into that San Mamés game needing to win the league, I would love to win the league in their stadium. That'd be such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sight to see after all the torture and Satanism and terrorism I had to go through in that stadium. But man, that's a huge, huge ask. And I think the other two, I think all the big 3 are kind of like PSG right now. All have winnable games. I think Barcelona have a lot of home. I think Barcelona and Real Madrid, they have, of course, I think 10, 11 games left. 6 or 7 of them are at home as well, so huge advantage there too. So It's going to come down to which team messes up the most in that unsurprising fashion. Of course, Barcelona have Champions League alongside Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid don't. So cheeky Real Madrid third place finish would be nice. Speaking of Real Madrid, I want to get your thoughts quickly on the Madrid Derby in the midweek. I know you watched the game. I watched the game as well. Give me your thoughts on the game, then also on the penalty as well, very quickly, because I want to know what you think.
Yeah, the game. No, it was a great performance from Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid once again just shows that even their so-called individual talent isn't even that good. I saw Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham once again has to be the biggest false player I've ever seen. Because Atletico is sitting in a deep block. If Pedri was playing in that game, he would dictate the tempo, try a long ball, do something. Bellingham he was just a spectator. He just woke up in the extra time when the game opened up, and he could make his fucking Zidane runs and so on. But no, Madrid were awful. Atletico Madrid probably should have tried to kill the game off. I know, that Simeone ball wants to go to extra time, but they had the chance to kill the game off there. I remember they had like a good chance and everything. But yeah, it was a great performance. And then going into the penalty shootout, I remember I wrote to you on Twitter. I was like, "You believe?" And you were like, "No, Madrid Satanism." I was like, "Yeah, Ramadan. No, we have to come on." And they still did it, man.
Ramadan, they cannot stop the what Madrid. I think again it really comes down to Atletico. Atletico in the end, no matter what, are always going to be, the B word of Barcelona and Real Madrid. They're just known as a third place. They'll fugazi a league title once every 10 years, a Copa del Rey once every 10 years. But at the end of the day, they always fall to Madrid and Real Madrid, which kind of sucks for them to be. It sucks to be Atletico Madrid. No matter what, you always crumble to them. On the penalty, I do think when I watched it live, I thought it was 2 touches, man. Because the way Alvarez slipped, the way he hit it, then the way he walked back as well was so nonchalant. Wasn't happy or
Yeah.
anything. So right when I saw that, I'm like, oh, he hit it 2 touch. Again, maybe if that penalty counts, it would have been different. But then Vasquez missed. So I'm like, all right, Vasquez missed. We're back in it. Then Lorente missed right afterwards. So I think in the end, Atletico still could have won it. They only have themselves to blame. And then now Madrid get to face Arsenal, and hopefully they start to crumble soon. I'm seeing that I'm seeing a lot of Madrid fans calling for Vinicius to be dropped because the team plays well without him more so than with him, because Mbappe is scary. You see that tweet about Perez so happy about Mbappe, wants to make him the poster boy, the captain, and all this stuff. You didn't see that?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no.
there's a tweet
What,
where,
like a report?
yeah, it was a report that like Florentino Perez sees Mbappe as like the heir or the star of Madrid for future to come. He's so happy with him. This is why he waited to get him for free. Let me pull up the tweet. I remember seeing it recently, but
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I saw Vinicius' reaction when Mbappe scored versus Villarreal. He just sat like this.
I know they talk about them being friends. They dance and they celebrate together, but I think there is definitely controversy going around because you can't have like I said when Mbappe first joined, you can't have this many stars on a team. It just will not work. Someone has to be the main man, known as like the poster boy. So
Yeah, if you take Barca, for example, you have like the old head Leva who knows he's soon to be finished, so he's happy to be part of the team. You have Rafinha in the prime years, and then you have Yamal coming up.
exactly.
At Barca, you had like Messi, Suarez, Neymar, but Neymar was still, that younger brother to Messi. And Suarez, he was a bit older. He also just joined Barca, so he knew he had to be humble. PSG, we had that problem when we had Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. Like all of them, big egos, everything. The only difference I would say is Messi and Neymar, they are complementary player. Like they can play make, they can score, and then it was just Mbappe who can just play his game.
Yeah, I felt like
That's just
that front three was strong on paper, but was unstrong in game. It was a bit unbalanced. I felt like if you put Messi false nine and had Mbappe on the right, it would have been a much more cohesive front three. But Pochettino never did it. He just kept them in their natural position. But yeah, I found the tweet here. So the tweet is Kylian Mbappe is now the now the Galactico and captain that Florentino Perez wanted. He was the first to jump to support Bellingham when he clashed with Foyth, and he left significant impression. Perez thinks this is
oh
the
yeah,
best
yeah.
signing he's ever made. I'm like, oh my god.
Wait, go under. Look if you can see a comment. If that tweet, because I remember I commented under one of those tweets.
Yeah, this is all a PR stunt, and you're getting fooled as usual.
Mbappe does that on purpose, man.
I know,
He
man.
he jumps and helps Bellingham, so everyone sees it. And they're like, "Yo, look at Mbappe! Look at it." He was the one that said two touch for Alvarez first of all as well. No, no, Mbappe won. Shout out to Mbappe, man. He is the biggest. Give him the Oscar, best actor I've seen, man.
I remember in the last second of the Villarreal game, Adagula had a chance on the right hand side. He had the cut back wide open for Mbappe for his hat trick. He shot it, and Mbappe was so pissed. And I'm like, that's the Kylian I like. And then Vinicius can't dribble. He's falling and slipping. I'm like, to be fair, if you really deep it, they are again in the running for the treble, right? The quarterfinal Champions League, 3 points off the top in La Liga, semifinal of the Copa del Rey. I was after the Villarreal game, I was sitting there thinking, how are they fugaces themselves all the way to still being in contention for a treble? The first half of the season was poor, losing to Milan, getting cooked by Barca twice, blah blah blah. They're still, in the rounds of contention. The reason for that is, of course, their quality is just so much compared to every other team they face. Like at the end of the day, if you have, 5+ all-star players, they're gonna get you results in the end. But it's in those bigger games where the question mark comes in. Of course, their only big win this season was against Man City in that qualifier round. Again, against Atletico Madrid, it was a good win, but it wasn't a convincing win. I think Atletico were the better team in that Bernabeu game when they lost 2-1. Of course, they scored the offside goal as well. But I don't know how they finesse themselves into, a trouble conversation, to be honest. And it really comes down to Barcelona, us, to stop them. So if they win it, it's our own fault, really.
No, no, you stop them in the league and the Copa del Rey, and we'll get
You get the Champions League
I
done.
can't wait. Barca boy with the PSG shirt for that. What?
Ale, Paris. for that semifinal only. I saw a lot of Real Madrid fans, cheering for Atleti over the past weekend. And I was there looking at the thing. I would never support Real Madrid no matter what. Even if I favored Barcelona, like, oh, we need to beat this team for us to win the league. Like, I would never rely upon them. And it's crazy that they stoop down to that kind of level. I think that both Barcelona and Atletico Madrid hate Real Madrid with an absolute passion. Like, they hate them no matter what. And then Real Madrid kind of just really hate Barcelona and then don't like Atletico. So they're kind of like a team that gets all the hate, but they don't know how to dish it out. So that's why when they lose, we always pray on their downfall. So you better get the job done in the Champions League, because if you don't, I will be very disappointed in you. I won't even come here and cook you. I'll just be sad, man. It depends on, of course, how far Barcelona get.
And the weirdest thing for me is because, okay, every Barca fan, but I know some Barca fans would probably, I don't know, win in a Classico final or something. But all Barca fans will support us, and then if we beat Madrid, we face you. So it's gonna be the weird. They're gonna go from propping the booze in that the booze knocks Madrid up, and then, oh my god, we're gonna face them booze.
Well, I think if we face you in the Champions League final, it's a good game. The two best deserving teams to face in the final. And if we lose, of course, I'll be absolutely gutted. I will be devastated, but I'll get over it in the end. My worst nightmare is losing an El Clasico Champions League final. Like, I cannot think of anything more worse in this world. Maybe my kid dying. Like, it's on par with that, man. Like, that is the worst fear I have. Of course, the best pinnacle of my footballing supporting life would be beating Real Madrid in the Champions final. But the fact that my worst pinnacle and the best pinnacle are both in one game, 50-50, I'll sacrifice the best to prevent the worst. That's just my perspective. But that would do numbers. I think Champions League Classico final would. I think it would do not close to World Cup numbers, like World Cup final numbers, but definitely up there. Like, World Cup final is what, 2 billion. I think a Classico Champions League final would definitely crack 1 billion.
No, I think this Champions League final, it's either gonna be from your bracket, the most like predictable is you or Bayern, and from our it's PSG or Madrid. Finally, a final where you have two good teams, not a fucking Spurs and Inter.
I think all the finals probably since 2015 when Barcelona won it have been predictable. In that Atletico Madrid game where the Madrid won La Decima, that was of course an even game. Atletico were 1-0 up the whole entire game. So that was a good. I think all the Champions final after that were all
2017. No, a bit, maybe just a bit.
Everyone knew Madrid were going to win that game. I think they went in as a clear favorites. Atletico just gave them a good game. Actually, to be fair, Chelsea beating Man City was a bit of a surprise. The one after COVID, so maybe one surprise in the last 10 years. And that I think every single Champions League there was a clear favorite, whereas a Champions League final, Classique would be even. I think if we have a Champions League final between us two, I think we'd go in as a favorite just based on the consistency we've had over the past over the whole season and what we've done, and you kind of being a late bloomer a little bit, but it would be interesting fight. Imagine we have a UCL final on you and a remontada. That'd be crazy. We will be there.
Imagine the opposite.
We will be there. The remontada anniversary was a couple days ago as well.
Okay.
What a time to be alive that was. Any final thoughts? Any topics that you wanna bring up? I think I kind of discussed everything that I wanted to mention.
No, I'm actually for one of the first times excited for the international break. Firstly, because my team is doing really well, but it's also they're gonna play Nations League quarterfinals. I don't know why they've done all the games at the same time because I wanted to watch France, obviously, Dembele taking the main man role from Mbappe. And then I wanted to watch Spain, Fabian Ruiz balling alongside the Catalonians.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, both games are at the same time. And
You can do a double watch along. There's no problem with that.
you also got Portugal with the PSG boys as well. Like,
Nah, that's a bit crazy. I do hope that Mbappe sits down. I do hope, Dembele sits down on Mbappe. I need Mbappe to have, a terrible international break. And this is his first time playing for France since being a Madrid player, no? Because the last two international breaks he wasn't called up. First time he pulled out, second time he was injured.
Yeah.
So yeah, first time he's playing for France as a Madrid player. So hopefully Dembele puts him in his place. That would be insane. But yeah, I guess we'll end it here as we kind of discuss everything. The two huge weeks for both teams being the best team in the world right now without a shadow of a doubt, and both teams could potentially be in the Champions League final, like you mentioned as well. I think you brought up the good point about both teams having the two best players in the world in each position. I think Shez is even going up there as a goalkeeper as well, man. He's been absolutely unbelievable.
Shout out to him. Shout out to him.
Humodori, yes sir. But overall, we both had a very successful week. And we'll see what happens after the international break. I'm very happy about the international break too. Ramadan, nice end to the Ramadan as well. So many intense games recently too. So nice to have a break as a fan too. I like, 2 international breaks this season. I don't mind it. It's when you have about 5 or 6. We had 3 in the first half of the season, September, October. Yeah, that stuff I don't like. But 1 in the first half of the season, 1 in the second half of the season. I don't mind it, especially as content creators when we and you are grinding and grinding. It's nice to have a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
But we'll end it here, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, if you did enjoy, make sure you drop a like down below. Subscribe as well if you haven't already. This is, of course, the show where the 2 best teams in football play. So this is where all the elite knowledge, the elite talk is at. Of course, check out your boy PG. The link is in the description below. The next episode will be on his channel. And we'll see you guys then for that, of course. Take care and force a bar.